Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I've got a 06 550 Ford here. It's got the 6-liter diesel, and it came in for a different repair than the actual issue we have at hand right now. So it came in with a fuel gauge problem. It's a dual tank setup. Came in from another shop. Vehicle came from the auction. It is a little dump truck, as you see. I believe it probably came from municipality. It's super rotted underneath. It's got a plow frame on the front and blah, blah, blah. So typical New York stuff, we'll call it. I fixed the fuel gauge. The cluster was bad. Sent United Radio, got a new one back. When I went to, it's been outside for about a week, waiting for the cluster to come back. So when I went out to pull it in, I go to start it, cranked over real slow. I'm like, well, whatever. I brought it on, pulled it inside, and I had to rewrite the VIN to the cluster and do the other little programming procedure it has to go through. And I didn't want the battery to go dead while that was happening because I noticed it cranks slow, so I grabbed the battery charger, threw it on the left-hand battery here, discovered that somebody's already been there. Batteries all looked shiny and new, and you could see they're filling with the connections, and so I didn't think nothing of it. It's an auction car. So threw the charger on it, did my thing with the instrument cluster. Fuel gauge works fantastic. Close the hood, go to back it outside, and here's where I'm at. So that's what I've got. I had more than that when it sat outside. I don't believe it has anything to do with the fuel gauge issue. Actually, I'm 100% positive it doesn't. So the fuel gauge works. He should be happy, but I'm pretty sure the guy wants to pick it up in running condition. So I called him, told him, like, look, your vehicle's done. Your fuel gauge works fantastic, but it doesn't start now. So he wants me to look at that issue, and I thought I'd bring you guys along. And no, I did not record the fuel gauge diagnosis. Yes, I should have, but I didn't. I just ran out of time, so just have to skip that one. But maybe this is like YouTube karma. I didn't record it, so now the truck's like, I want to be on video. So here we are. Vanessa's gone today, so I went down to the Aeromart gas station there for lunch. Yeah. It's like you think like you're gonna go there and it's gonna be happy, and you're like, this is a great idea. And then you eat 2 gas station beef and bean burritos. And then moments later, you decide that was not a good idea. You should probably listen to your wife. But I didn't, and now I have to pay for that. Where are we? We're doing no start, no crank, not a Chevy, Ford truck. So first thing first, visual inspection. When I got under here, the caps are already up. Everything, you can tell this baby's had jumper cables on it or something because everything's all scratched up. I did give it the old wiggle test, got under here, wiggled it a little bit. Nothing's loose or falling off. Don't see anything obvious that jumps out to me except for the fact that the batteries are relatively new, interstate batteries. So with that being said, we're just gonna look at this like we've never looked at it before, which we haven't. This battery, however, should be fully charged. And it is. So it's got a smidge of a surface charge on it of 0 volts, as you can see. Now, where are we? What do we got now? So we've got 12.87 volts on the left-hand battery. So this is a dual battery system, kind of like the one Ivan just did in the video there with the Oliver tractor. Except that was 2 6-volt batteries hooked in series to make a 12-volt circuit. These are 2 12-volt batteries hooked in parallel to make a 12-volt circuit, but to give it some more, if that makes sense. So we'll hook this little guy up over here. So where this battery's at. So this is a little different. This battery is only, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it's only at basically 12 volts, 12.04 volts. Hooking the battery charger to this, I guess it's probably critical that we understand how these batteries are hooked up. Hooking the battery charger to one battery should have charged both batteries. Okay, so we might have found the problem immediately. 12.87. So that's what? 170 millivolts different battery to battery. So that's kind of interesting. So I guess we can just trace out this circuit so we're all on the same page here. Okay. Stuck my leads right in my T. So on the positive wire here, we'll just start right on this battery, then maybe we can go draw a little diagram. So we've got the positive lead, we've got a smaller lead. That is probably, we've got a small lead off the positive here that goes to more than likely power distribution center. And then we've got another lead here, which is aftermarket, going to a 150 amp circuit breaker. 150 amp circuit breaker with two little 12 gauge wires coming off it. There's smart thinking, folks. Anyhow, positive lead goes over across the core support and right over to this positive lead. And then from this positive lead, let's see here. Okay, got one that goes to the snowplow business. Another one goes to the alternator. One goes down to the starter. Okay, so the starter is hooked to this battery over here, which ultimately is hooked to that battery over there because, like I said, they're hooked in parallel. You know, positive, positive, negative, negative. Okay, and then yes, it's got one to the alternator, one to the plow stuff, another aftermarket accessory, or possibly an intake heater, glow plug relay, something like that, another heavy gauge wire. But we're looking just at the starter circuit, so I just wanted to see this battery goes to that battery. The negative on this side goes down. Give you an idea where this goes. Oh, I gotta get up here after eating lunch. Oh my gosh. This one goes down. It looks like it just goes down to the frame rail. That is the frame of the truck. So this negative post just goes to the frame of the truck. So that's easy. This negative one has aftermarket accessories, probably snowplow stuff. It has another one right here. Looks like it goes to aftermarket snowplow stuff. It's got one that goes to the body. There's a little small light gauge that goes to the body, and then another one that goes down. I see a ground wire hooked to the frame. And then it must go over to the block. Okay, let's draw this on a piece of paper. Better yet, let's go talk to Scotty over here on the whiteboard. All right, so we are over here hanging out with Scotty, and we'll see if I can represent this with my highly refined drawing skills. We use green for the batteries. So we have two batteries. They're interstate, that's why we're using green. So we'll do two batteries. I suck at drawing. Okay. So there's our batteries. We'll do, we have a positive. This is so sweet being all color coded, and a negative. And then we need to draw the frame of the truck because that appears to be where they go, or appears to be a key player here. So we use brown because the frame is all rusty. So there is just the end view of a rusty frame. And obviously we have a frame on each side where it looks like it hooks to. Just this way here we get kind of an idea. This is our cross member, look at that. We'll draw it kind of big because it is a 550. There's our cross member, there's our frame. And then I suppose we need an engine block. Oh my gosh, too many colors. So we'll draw the engine. I don't know how to draw an engine. I don't know if is that really, that's like, I don't know. That's pretty good. All right, so there's our engine. You guys like that, huh? So, let's see, this is, we'll call this this is the driver's side, this is the passenger side. It appeared, from what I could tell, the negative battery lead came out of the driver's side and went down and hooked directly to the frame. And we're only going to focus on the starter circuit. So the other leads off the batteries, I'm not too concerned about. If they go to aftermarket stuff, we're not going to start drawing all that, or this will look like spaghetti. So then the other negative lead appeared to come out of the passenger side battery and go to the frame and to the engine block. That's what it appeared to do, from what I could tell. Or it goes from the engine block and then back to the frame, but regardless, it hooks to both, but it appeared to be perhaps one cable going down. It did not go down into two cables. So I don't know if it goes down and hooks to the block, and then there's another separate cable that hooks and goes to the frame, but in either case, that's how that looked. This side did not go, this side does not go to the block. And then, we'll put our starter motor right here. Kind of looks like an oil filter, but that's actually the starter. Yeah, take my word for that. So then the positive lead on the driver's side, that came out, went over to the passenger side battery, and then from the passenger side battery, went down to our starter. This battery was at 12. We'll say 12.9. This battery was at 12.0. Label your numbers, or I will get mad. He doesn't really get mad, he just likes to see labels. So we got 12.9 on the driver's side, 12.0 on the passenger side. And then we also have a no crank condition. So what we can do now, what's interesting to me, I guess, right off, is the batteries are not the same. They're not the same state of charge. It's likely, it is my guess, being that the batteries appear to be relatively new, does not mean they're good, but it's highly likely they are still, good, so to speak. I am suspicious of some voltage drop, somewhere's bad cable, bad connection, possibly rust. If you can imagine that, I don't know what, but I just want to give you guys an idea of how these cables are run. So you can see it's, a parallel circuit, negative, negative, positive, positive. So that's it, simple 12 volt dual battery circuit. So now that we kind of have a little bit of a concept, probably somewhat of a piss poor one, but we got an idea, so let's go over and do some more testing. Well, I don't know if I totally murdered that or not, but let's do some quick checks. I try to explain things, but sometimes I can't explain them to myself. So let's hook onto this battery. So again, we're still at 12.87. Let's, for poop and laughter, see what this battery does while we crank it. I don't suspect it's going to do anything personally, but we'll see. Just because you have voltage does not mean the battery has the ability to put out amperage. We can stack a bunch of AA batteries together and get 12.8 volts. Maybe were they 1.3? I don't know. I didn't do the math, but you get the point. Okay, here we go. Fire in the hole. Put this key on. What do we got? We got nothing. All that noise and we got nothing. 12.87. That thing didn't even flicker. Well, there must be there's no connection between this battery and that battery. It's my final answer. It needs all new cables. Let's call the customer. Start checking fuses. Get our power probe. Okay, so that battery voltage changed. What are we at here? 11.91. So let's do the same test on that battery. Okay, you ready? Key on. There's no sense of even hitting the key. That battery goes right down to 8 volts. That's just key on. So that battery's at 8 volts. Little vacuum pumps are pumping away over there. This battery's at 12.84. There's your problem, lady. So that was a relatively simple diagnosis. Why are these batteries not talking to each other? So we can do our voltage drop checks. Let's see. Let me get something to write on here. All right, well, I grabbed a pen and paper to write on, and I also hooked up a battery charger because I was trying to think. I'm here by myself today. In order to do voltage drop testing, you need current flow. Without current flow, you have no voltage drop, obviously. So we can induce current with our battery charger. And we know the problems between this battery and that battery. And if we find out what the problem is between this battery and that battery, then I'm pretty sure we're gonna have the whole system licked. Because I don't feel that this problem is on, the starting circuit. I don't believe, I don't think we have to be concerned with voltage drop from the battery to the starter, because we don't even have a good voltage supply going to the starter, if that makes sense. So we're not really gonna be checking that circuit. It would be my guess. I don't know if this is a good guess. It'd be interesting to know if that battery's charging with the vehicle running. This battery may be the only one that's charging. Well, it's gonna depend on which side of the system our voltage drop is on. So we're gonna induce current to the system and then check our voltage drop that way. That way we don't have to have, somebody trying to crank it or, trying to capture on a graph, which we can do. But this way here, we can just get some live numbers. So I'm gonna put this on a 2 amp setting. We'll turn it on. And then what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll do our voltage drop testing. And essentially we're gonna look at it in the sense that, this is gonna be our differential pressure tester. We're gonna see the pressure difference or voltage difference between this battery and that battery on each leg, positive and negative. See where our problem is and then kind of back trace it here. So this battery is at, get a good reading here. Well, 13.09. Of course, that's probably going to continually go up. So we'll say 13.1 volts DC. Hopefully you'll see what I'm up to in a minute here. This one is at 12.06. So we'll say 12.1. 12.1. We'll round up. So that, we do the math, do that in my head. 1 volt DC difference between the two. So that voltage difference is going to be one of two places. It's either going to be on the ground side or on the power side. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to see why these two do not have a connection. For the power, for the positive terminal of this battery, the positive terminal of this battery, it should be 0 volts. And you can see that it is, hopefully you can see that it is, but it's 0.00. So that leaves only one option. Being that there was only 2 options. This is the ground side circuit. So the negative terminal, and we should see our difference of at least 1 volt. Let's see, what's this at now? That's at 13.14. So yeah, we should see a difference of at least 1 volt. It has to be. Feel like a smarty pants. Well, it's negative, but never mind the scale, I guess. 1.08 volts. I don't know if that's visible or not, but we have a difference of 1 volt, negative to negative. So our voltage drop, our problem between this battery and that battery is on the negative circuit. So we can totally forget about anything on the positive circuit. Shut that off because I know that sounds like a 747 in the video usually. So we have 1 volt of voltage drop, which is the voltage difference between that battery and this battery. I hope that makes sense. That's the difference. That's the pressure differential. You know, if we had X amount of water over in this cup and X amount of water in this cup, there's more in this one, there's a hose between them, but they're not equalizing pressure. You know, that's what we're measuring. We're measuring the difference. You know, how much is in cup A versus cup B? Well, this is, 1 volt more. I don't know. That might not be a good way to do it, but that's the way my little brain thinks about it. So let's go back over by Scotty and see if we can look at some plausible options or scenarios, and then perhaps we can come up with a method to track this down. So let's say, for example, we know our positive side from battery to battery is good. We learned that because there's no difference between that battery and that battery. Hypothetically, if we had a break in this wire on the driver's side battery from the battery to the frame, would we get the results that we're getting now? And the answer to that question is yes, because this battery's being charged, this one's not. There is a difference in voltage on those 2 wires. So that is plausible. Okay, so we do have to check for that, so we can do a voltage drop from here to the frame while inducing current, and that will tell us, is this connection good, or do we need to dig this connection out and find out what's going on? Okay, so why don't we, just for the sake being that we just looked at that, let's just go quickly test that and see, because that would be nice if it's just this cable here going to the frame, it's got an open, corrosion, whatever. I suspect it's going to be, whatever we're going to find is going to be a full open, because you've seen when we cranked it, that battery voltage on that thing didn't even wiggle. There's nothing shiny on this frame. So we're going to make a shiny spot. Okay, we'll grab our test leads. We're going to stick, we're going to turn our charger back on. 2 amps. We'll stick our test lead onto the frame. That clean up the only spot you can't do with the test lead. Jerk. Ah, dang it all. I did it too. What a rookie. I'm going to show you guys watching. Where can I go? This frame's pretty hefty. There's another shiny spot. Hey, we get on that one. Yeah. Set this up. There it is, we're 0 volts because we're not hooked to anything. Okay, up here, up to the negative lead, we are at 0.00 volts. So that's good. If we go to the positive, we're probably battery voltage, yep, 13.06. I don't know if you guys can see any of this. So 0 volts. That tells me that our ground to the frame is good. That's great. That eliminates one part of the circuit. We don't have to look at that. All right, where'd our marker go? I lose my marker. I swear I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached. I don't know where the marker went. How the heck do you just lose a black Sharpie all of a sudden? Oh, we're going brown. Are you kidding me? Well, I don't know, folks. I just looked everywhere. Wow. How the thunder do you just lose a whole marker? Got 3 of them here. How much are black? I don't understand. We've only been 8 feet. Whatever, dude. We've got this one right here. Anyhow, is what it is. We know this is good, check. Our positive side is good. Positive side starter we don't care about at this point. So what's going to give us our difference in our reading over to this area? The only other plausible option is this right here. Make sense? We got a break there. What we can do, if that's the case, if this is bad, this wire here is bad, that we just took out, our voltage drop from the battery to the engine should also be bad. If that's the case, that's the only thing that makes sense. If this is wired as we, depict here, is that a word, depict, as we depict it, as we perceive it to be? I don't know. If it's wired like this, then if we do a voltage drop test from here to here, we should get the same readings that we were getting from here to here. So let's go try that next. I'm kind of at a loss for words over my marker. What in the thunder? This is getting freaking creepy. Look, there's my marker. I can't make this crap up. I walked from the Scotty board to here, and I looked down, and it's there. That's weird. It actually kind of scares me a bit. Maybe we shouldn't have drew the pair of pants at Scotty. Come on now, everybody loves Scotty. The guy's awesome. You kidding me? Genius. That is weird. I am not. Am I that blind? I am not that blind, folks. That must be. Keep an eye on those things. Negative. We have the charger on. 2 amps. And now we need to find a ground. We'll just go to the alternator case. That's shiny enough. And make sure we've got a good connection. Crap. I should probably invest in some new clamps. There we go. Is that it? Look at that. 1.00 volts. So there our problem lies. Okay. As we suspected, we need to be focusing on this negative cable on this side, where it comes from the frame to the engine block. What we can do, that has to be it because it cranks. We can prove it. Let's take our battery charger on that side. We'll nuke that battery a smidge. That should crank over just fine. We can induce some current over there. We can check our voltage drop from that battery to the block. I suspect that's going to be good because the engine attempts to crank. It may not be, because it might have a problem in that whole cable. But if the voltage drop from that negative cable to the block is good, then it only leaves one viable option. Okay, so we're over here on the passenger side. I've got the battery charger hooked to this battery. Of course, it was pretty low. It's currently at 13.79. I got it on 40 amps to kind of give her a little boost. If we go to the engine block, we can see it immediately goes to 0. So that is exactly what I thought, is that this cable to the block is happy. However, I think we will find that the block to the frame, or the battery to the frame, is open. Alright, Vanessa O guys, on now. Working solo today. Solo mio. Warning, low battery, limited backlight, printer option disabled. Good. We left off negative to negative. Looks like we're still hooked up. 0 volts. Let's go. Let me get my little zippy tool. What do we got here? We'll go right on the plow frame. That's all hooked together. Okay. Let's grab this. I'm going to take this negative lead. I'm going to go down to the plow frame down here. Oh my gosh, some burritos are ripping me to pieces. Oh, what do we got? Is that around the plow frame? Wham bambino, baby. Look at that. 0.68, 0.7 volts from the engine to the frame. And then that should be the same from the battery to the frame. We've just narrowed it down. Yep. So from the battery to the frame on that battery, 0.7 volts. There is your problem, lady. Doesn't really sound as good when you say it like that. There's your problem, lady. Now, we've got the task of seeing how that wire goes from this battery to the frame, or from this battery to the block, and then from the block to the frame. One or the other. It's going to wide off one of two ways, and or be, I'll try to represent it here. I don't want to go back over there by the possessed board and start losing more things. Engine block. So that's the engine block. I'll draw the fan so we know what we're looking at. Here's this battery, plus, minus. Here's our frame rail. Huh? You guys like that? Negative cable can either go to the, I think it probably goes like this. It probably goes to the block. We know that connection's good. There's no voltage drop from here to here. However, from here to here there's voltage drop. So there's either a separate cable that goes to the frame. So this cable here could be crap, or a crap connection here. Or the other option is, you know, the negative cable goes to the frame and then wires off to the block. And you know, the wire could be intact, but where it bolts to the frame could be crap. So in either case, it's crap between, we'll call this point A and we'll call this point B. There is some crap action happening right there. So now we just need to identify it. The only thing that kind of sucks is this is like 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag. Speaking of crap, might have to take a, I won't even say it. So that's it. We diagnosed a voltage drop without, you know, by inducing current through the charger. I guess current's current, no matter how you look at it. It's trying to move. So that's that. Now we have to do the dirty work. This should be fun. I'm wondering, however, if we can do proof of concept by using like a jumper cable. As I look at this, I wonder if I can clean up a shiny spot down here on this plow frame. We'll take a jumper cable and we will hook it to, from the battery to the frame. Let me turn this off. Thanks, John. serious amperage. That battery's pretty well dead. If we take and it might crank now. Let's see if it cranks, because this probably, I mean, we can always redo our voltage drop testing, but let's just see if it cranks real quick. It probably will. Alright, so it cranks now. I didn't let the intake heater cycle, or glow plugs, whatever this thing has. Yeah, I mean, we could have done a proof of concept while it was still dead and looked for that voltage drop. But you know well as I do, if we take a jumper cable, we hook it from here to the frame, and then we redo our voltage drop, it's naturally going to be 0 because we know that circuit's open. So I guess instead of screwing around with all that, let's just go, let's find that wire, take it from there. You know, so I got thinking before we go get all hot and wild looking for that wire, you know, I want to do kind of a proof of concept. Technically, we should be able to check this running. That battery should charge. Now it's giving me a little concern as to why it hasn't charged enough when well, I guess maybe I've just never had it running enough. That battery should charge. I mean, that should be plenty to start this truck in the, you know, in this heat with the 60 to hot 60 degrees in here. In theory, because our ground is open between here and there, that battery should charge. This one should not. This one should always stay at whatever it's at. It didn't drop when we were cranking it. It sure as heck will not go up when we start the vehicle. So 12.89. So let's see if we've boiled that one enough to start. Let the glow plug cycle this time. Should charge. I think I got a jumper cable. Okay. Got a jumper. Oh, she's revving up. jumper cable, and this should go back to its surface charge. Show you guys that. So I'm going to unhook the battery or the jumper cable. That's unhooked. Probably taking a little while for that to go back down. There's nothing drawing from it. I don't know if I turn on the headlights or something. I have no idea. But it will slowly go back down as the surface charge depletes. Alright, so there we have it. So, and I guess just to prove that as a surface charge, you know, 1304. So even though we unhooked the, you know, battery cables from battery to frame, this had a pretty good surface charge on it. So you wouldn't see that immediate drop like you would on that battery, where you know, battery's pretty low. So anyhow, so that's proof of concept. Now that I've done that, I've really been trying to avoid crawling around on the ground, but that moment in time is here. Now, I don't even think these little rubber caps, they don't even fit over this anymore because of all the snowplow stuff and whatever else this is. So we'll leave that like that. Time to do the dirty work. Might be easier depending on how buried this is. So just add a big ground wire from the block to the frame. Done. Oh my gosh, this heartburn's gonna kill me. Okay, there goes the trailer. Let's stop doing trailer inspection real quick. I went underneath the truck, and on the block was this bolt. So you can see it's good and shiny. And the ground wire came down, there was, and it bolted to the block. And then there was like a bracket in front of it that went on this. There's no way I could record it laying on the ground where it was. Bad enough with all the rust and crap falling on my eyes. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. The bracket that was on here housed the positive terminal, and it headed back that way, the positive cable. So right here where it bolted on, it looks like there's a Y connection there. I yanked and pulled and like flexed it, but it's pretty stiff. I did not see anything obvious. So I'll set that bolt over there. I believe, oh, Larry the cable guy. I believe right there is the bolt on the frame. If we can reach this and unhook the bolt on the frame and pull that whole cable out, perhaps then we can see what's wrong. I mean, whatever it is, it's got to be pretty bad. I'll see if I can't get hooked on this thing. Maybe I should get a longer extension. Looks like a 13 mil. There's a wiring harness right smack on top of it. Come on, baby. Yeah, there you go. It wasn't super tight, I'll be honest with you. I don't know how I'm going to get that bolt back on. I gotta get down. Because I don't know if I'll be able to reach it by hand to get it started, if you know what I'm saying. Well, what can I stand on? You don't have a milk crate, get an OSHA approved bucket. Guaranteed to cut your guts, especially if you're hanging over a hood latch. Why do we do it? I don't know. There's that bolt. Head of that's pretty shiny. I've seen worse. So, now, is that loose? Is she loosey-goosey? Nothing. What way does this run, first of all? Whoa! Almost went for a ride. I want to feed this out so we can visual inspection here. I didn't think it was going to be too big a production. Come on. It really shouldn't be. I'll tell you what, why don't we get rid of this air charge hose, and then I can stick my mitts down in there and perhaps guide it in, as we like to say. So why don't we do that? All right, it is all up and out of the way. Now I can get my grubby mitts down in here. Now we can pull this little guy up. There she is, folks. The Y. Place we always want to be. So this is pretty interesting. Visual inspection is not showing me anything at this point. Huh. Pretty wild, huh? I mean, it looks good. And we know that our problem lies here, which that sucker's shiny. I mean, it's shiny top and bottom. Obviously the one on the block is good. Let me look to see where it hit the frame. I mean, it's rusty, but there's shiny spots on it. It's obvious that it was down all the way, or appears to be. Of course, it just kind of went into the sheet metal there. So I don't know. What we can do, show you a little trick my grandmother taught me. Let me go get a tool. That's what I always tell Josh it works for. Anytime I pull out some kind of magic trick for him, he's like, where'd you learn that? My grandmother taught me, Josh. As far as he knows, my grandma was one smart lady. So we all know that an ohm test is crap. It won't tell us anything. But these little guys will. So we got, let's have a circuit breaker. Is that a circuit breaker? What's this thing got? Woo-hoo-hoo! So if we clamp that on there, if we suspect this wire's bad, should it spark? Proof's in the pudding there, folks. That's what Ivan always says. So I'm clamped on there with battery positive. Does this still spark? Oh, you betcha. Look at that. Nothing. Cable looks good. Can't carry any current. Now, let's see. Let's see if our classic ohm test, let's see what that tells us. We want to go to digital, channel 1, ohmage, auto, run auto ohms. Let's see if we have continuity from point A to point B. And we do. We have 67,000 ohms, or thereabouts. 69, good even number, 69,000 ohms we'll call it. I don't know if flexing, you know what? Look at this, folks. That right there, lady, is your real problem. she had a case of the brown crusties. Equally as bad as the green crusties. But there it is, visual inspection showed us nothing. Ohm meter, well, could have worked in this case. Possibly a load probe, but I won't go that far. I think the method we used, we narrowed it down exactly where it needed to be, right to the exact wire. We pulled it out, proof of concept, showed that we were right. And there is the brown pudding. So what to do now? Well, this cable is going to be crap all the way down. I mean, this thing, yeah. We don't have to be tender with it. We don't have to gingerly rip it apart. Look at that. I don't want to get any in the air-to-air boot or air. Look at that. Crumbling. Like little porcupine quills. Little baby porcupine. Oh, we could always get a cable. It's an easy cable to put in. Have it pre-made, manufactured, bolt it right back in. That is what I'm probably going to elect to do. I'm going to call to see what this cable costs. If it's relatively inexpensive or reasonable or is about the same price as the labor as it would be to make one, we're just going to buy it. And if it's, you know, ridiculous, then we're not going to buy it. We'll make it. We'll fix it. But in either case, I think I'll probably end the video here because we've rambled, bambled, talked a lot, probably more than we should have. Most people are probably going to leave more confused than they came here with. And they're going to, I think I try to address any questions we may have before we have them, assuming somebody's made it this far in the video. Why didn't I just go through and check all the grounds first? And that's what I get a lot when we do our videos with, you know, like our turning signal videos, our videos with tip-ums, our videos where we trace it down to the exact circuit, go in, punch it in the face, and we know exactly where we're going. Everybody's like, yep, I knew it was a ground. I highly suspected it was a ground voltage drop. Once I knew it was a ground, I knew it was a ground. But did you know what ground it was? And the answer to that question is no, you didn't. You had no idea what ground it was unless you've seen this before, which somebody in every video always has. So if you haven't seen it before, it would be a big fat guess as to where to go to look. That's why we do the things we do, how we do them, like we do them, because otherwise it's just guessing. You know, I mean, that cable over there, you don't even want to see where that thing's hooked to the frame. That's a huge pain in the neck. You know, you get down there, you start fiddling, things break. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So we'll leave it at that. That's why I do things the way I do, I guess, and that's why I don't just go willy-nilly, checking, poking, prodding, get some definitive proof, and that's it. So, all right, guys, Google Plus, Facebook, blah, 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 all that stuff. Check us out there. If you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know why you haven't, and I wish that you would. So click the button. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.